Doing tonight. So we want to have a little bit of a presidential debate. Me, my daughter, and my dad. Say hi, Dad.
Hi there.
All right. So, who wants to go first?
You.
Okay, ask me the question.
What would you do if you were president and it would be your first task?
My first executive order?
Yes.
Yes.
My first executive order is to make sure by 2025 every homeless person in America is not only employed but has a place to be that is warm, safe, and there's food.
Yeah, you can get behind that. Yep.
I'm digging it, right?
Okay.
I'm digging it. Okay. Now,
What's your...
What's your first bill before the House and the Senate?
my
The first piece of legislation that needs to be law, you need to pass it right now.
My first bill to the House and the Senate. Let me think for a minute,
Help yourself.
because I gotta program my words
Help
and make
yourself.
them sound right, so it's not all messed up. Because I'm not a selfish or a greedy person. I'm
That's
gonna
not my
request. I'm gonna request from the Senate and the House that first off, every Congress member, state representative takes a pay cut.
Absolutely.
That pay cut is gonna go to building the homeless homes and making sure that they have food by 2025. The purpose of that bill after the fact and the jobs that we're gonna create for those homeless people who may not be as educatedly inclined or able to be educated like some of the rest of us who have college degrees like myself, is to make sure that they have stable income and shelter. It's also going to feed the economy because it's going to create jobs. Those jobs are going to be to create more food and more homes for more homeless people.
Mr.
Not
Bryan.
only here in America, but in other parts of the world.
Mr. Bryan.
Yes.
How do you propose that you put that legislation into action? See, we've all heard Democrat and Republican on either side of the aisle talk about, we want this and we're gonna do this. At the end of the day, nothing gets done. How do you propose to force the Congress, the Senate, or House, Senate? How do you propose that you make us pass legislation?
I'm going to call on the American public.
You're gonna go Ronald Reagan.
I'm going to call on the American public. I'm going to need my constituents.
He's gonna.
I'm going to need my constituents and the people that elected me into office to get behind me 110%. And we are going to tell these Congress members and representatives, you are going to donate half of your yearly salary
Mr. Bryan.
that you're allotted to start this process. And every other taxpayer
Bryan.
can pitch in $1.
At the end of the day, who do you work for?
The people, always.
Who do the Congress and the Senate work for?
The people.
The people. When did they forget? When did they forget that we the people run this country?
A very long time ago.
And how do you propose to get them off their fannies and make them do what we all know is right?
Well,
What we know...
if they don't agree with the pay cut, first off, too bad, because the average American citizen makes minimum wage, or what the United States statistic would say is the rate of poverty. For instance, I work at a job where I make $38,000 to $40,000 a year, and I'm expected to feed myself, house myself, and take care of my family and my children. And my elderly father
aging
on
parents.
that income, if it's my only income, I'm expected to make them be able to live comfortably.
And who do you rely on if that doesn't happen?
The president.
Then I'm going to go back to myself. I don't expect to take a paycheck. I expect to go to work every day and work in the public for the public. like I
Why
do
don't
now.
we go back to the gold standard?
We can do that too.
Where we go back to the gold standard, and the people who serve in Washington and in the House and Senate in our
They have to live
State-
like
in
every
our
other
states-
average American.
states and our municipalities, why don't they make the same amount of money we make? Why is it that a congressman makes
3 times as
in the
much.
state of Iowa, why is it they make
$500,000 a year.
and
Compared
the,
to my
and the average
$40,000.
and the average constituent in their state makes what? I mean, we don't know the numbers here, people. We're
Not exact numbers, but I can look them up if I have to.
And we
to bring,
will.
Just to bring the math in order. Oh yeah,
And
I
we
can definitely
will.
do that. My
What is
second
Iowa's
executive order is we're gonna work for eliminating the national deficit, and all these millionaires that get these big tax breaks, they're gonna have to start pitching in their 40% like the rest of us hardworking blue collar
Oh.
Americans.
You mean you pay 40% in taxes, Mr. Bryan?
I pay a lot more than 40%.
I know I
Can
did.
I pay a lot more than 40%. I know
Can
they
I
take
get
it
asked?
Yes, ma'am, Anna.
out of my 40,000.
My granddaughter wishes to speak. Go ahead.
You have the floor, ma'am.
I wanted to say if I was president, my first order would be taking away all taxes. Every single tax that
Well,
we had to pay.
let's be realistic. We need the taxes to
We
be able
can't
to
do
Yes,
that.
fix
I
the
mean,
roads and
I
keep the
know that.
infrastructure up.
I know that, but what if it was less tax?
Yes,
Less tax.
I agree, less tax, but we can provide that less tax by these politicians taking that pay cut and living like an
Exactly.
average American citizen
How about
on a
a 4%?
budget.
How about a 4 or 5% flat
That's
tax
what I'm saying.
for everyone
4 or
across the
5%.
board?
Even a 10%
4 or 5.
flat tax would be
Even
okay.
a 10%
It would
flat
be
tax would
okay.
be better than the internal criminal internal revenue service
Right,
that we live under now.
I
right.
would also be able to change the way that we buy the groceries.
We will also no longer be housing and feeding for free
Exactly.
the inmates that are in prison who choose to create crimes. If you choose to commit a crime in this country, you are not only a possession of the state, you are employed by the state to make sure that those homeless people have housing by the end of the
Absolutely.
Yep.
year.
Absolutely.
And you will come to work from 8
Every
a.m.
day.
until
Through
5 p.m.
How do you
every
sell?
day.
How do you sell every day? Go to work.
And you'll be fed and taken care of at that point.
But-
if you choose not to work,
Mr. Ryan, I say chain them together, put them on the roads, have them painting elderly people's houses.
now I know from my personal experience of working in a factory with 85 inmates as my employees,
Oh,
they work harder than 90% of the free Americans
Why
out
is
on the
that?
street because they have something to lose.
I would
I see.
say this. My
It could
father
cost them a meal.
okay. Listen.
My father has been working much more harder than other people see. My father is a very, very good man. Even though people don't see him as a very good man, lots of bad stuff has happened to him, and I'm very, very disappointed
But
in
we're not,
everyone else.
we're not
about it.
dwelling on the bad stuff. We're trying
We're
to
not
work
dwelling
on
on
the
it.
future.
We're
who's
trying
going
to
the
work
future?
on who's going to be the president, or who to vote.
Ice cold Coca-Cola. Well,
Who
I'd
to
say
vote,
if the
what to
election
do.
was held today,
I'd put in my name.
I'd vote for any one of us three as vice president,
okay,
president,
if
or,
the
or
election was
secretary of
held
state.
today, I've got to say, we have Camilla, what's her name?
I don't like
And
her.
we have Donald, what's his name?
Donald Trump,
Okay, I don't care about I don't care what their name is.
pretty much.
I care about their politics.
And what they're actually doing for the
Do
people.
they love this country? Are they willing to stand up and make their voices heard? for-
Donald Trump did not stand up for this USA. He did not stand up. All he did was go out there and almost get shot in the head.
Well, I
Just
feel,
like John Lennon.
I feel like a lot of our politicians have created more fights for us in other
I'm sorry.
countries than creating more jobs and homes for those
How
people. as
how
much
did
as
Donald Trump
ourselves.
go out there?
He was doing a
He's
thing.
He's a campaigning.
He was here in Fort Dodge, Iowa last year.
Okay.
And he almost got shot in Los Angeles just so he could talk to the people. He got shot through the ear. It's on the news.
He was trying to speak to the American
Exactly.
people. Why would
Exactly.
okay, you know your grandfather carries a gun every day.
Exactly.
Correct.
You know
Our
your
Second
father
Amendment
carries a
right.
gun every day of our life.
Our Second Amendment right.
Have we ever, according to the Constitution, have we ever pulled our weapon
Exactly.
and pointed it towards a person who was campaigning for president?
I have never.
Okay, you're 18 years old.
In defense of ourselves on private property,
In
in our
defense
of
homes,
ourselves,
Yes.
our
defense of
own
our
safety
family is
and the
one
safety
thing.
of our families.
That's
is
one
another.
thing.
Some crazy person took a gun out and they tried to shoot a
Of
former
course,
former
I'm-
president.
I'd shake his hand, but we need to talk about them politics a little
Exactly.
I have a problem with some of his politics.
That's
I
my
don't
problem.
like how he wanted to build a wall. I get that he was
Okay,
trying
no,
to.
I'm sorry.
I get.
Mr. Trump was right.
I know, but I get that he was trying to not let the Mexicans or like whatever about his ideas about it. I get
No.
that he was trying to save the
You
USA from
Okay,
it.
so let me ask both of you a question.
Ask me.
Since we are on live and we are on YouTube right now, and
Yes.
nobody's actually watching or viewing, but people
There
may
was
do
one
this later.
person. There was one
There
person.
may have been one person. I do have quite a few fans and followers, but they really don't get on when I go live because I don't go
That's
live
fine.
enough.
Yes.
I don't keep consistent with it.
Ask the
So,
question.
Ask the
my
question.
question is, do you think that if we spent more time creating a better United States and our enemies who thought that we were spoiled, cocky, arrogant, and we stopped being so cocky and arrogant and started
Yes.
working with them to create a plan for their country as much as our own,
Mhm.
to create peace and freedom and
I
homes
think-
and shelter and work, that people would get along a little better?
Mr.
Yes,
Bryant,
of
Mr.
course.
Bryant, I think if the American people would stand up,
True story.
if they would stand up and do just the little bit,
True story.
the little bit that you can do, whether it's grow a victory garden,
And
have a
share
few
with your neighbors.
have a few hens in your yard, in your neighbor's yard.
If I might
Raise
add
some eggs.
something.
Excuse me, I'm speaking.
Sorry.
Have a victory garden. Grow hens. Raise chickens. My brother and his friends just slaughtered 200 chickens
For food.
on his farm in Clare,
For food.
and for food. All meat chickens, all American breasted and big red ones. I don't know what they were.
Turkey.
I have a broken arm. I can't really go out there and do it, but everyone should do their little bit
Correct.
and contribute.
Correct.
But the county assessor and the tax man shouldn't be coming in, pointing their finger at my brother going, we're going to raise your taxes. And they did. They doubled his taxes.
His taxes shouldn't have
He
been
bought
raised.
that. I'm
He
sorry.
should've got
I'm
a
sorry.
grant.
Wait, I'm sorry. My brother bought that house when it was a dilapidated wreck.
Oh yeah.
And
It was
now-
dilapidated already.
And now it's 23 years later and it's a beautiful home
Yes, it is.
for him and his wife and his children and grandchildren. And all the government wants to do is come in and go, oh, by the way, you owe us money. Why? Because he invested his time and his sweat equity
Yeah.
in building a property
Because he
and
put
a
his
farm,
backbone
growing
into his home
apple
like we
trees,
should do our country.
pear trees, comfrey herbs. His wife, it's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. And it's crazy that everybody, all my neighbors I take care of. Like, if I have neighbors, and my
Okay.
neighbors know me everywhere I go.
Look at the root of the word neighbor. He's your near brother.
Correct.
He's your brother and he's near you.
Correct.
He's your neighbor.
Correct.
Near brother. Okay, so he's your brother, and I'm sorry, I have a bunch of brothers. My dad had a bunch of children, but my dad was an Irish hound dog. Okay, but the point is that if he's your neighbor, he's your near brother. You take care of him. You stand up. You do what's right.
Amen.
You stand up. You take care of him. You do what's right for everyone in your
Amen.
community.
That's right.
Not just the people in your family, but
You
everyone.
see a homeless person on the street, try and feed them at least
Nathaniel,
one meal a
oh,
week.
you're my son. You've known me 38 years.
Correct.
How many times have you seen me leave a homeless person on the street hungry or naked or cold?
You haven't, just like
Never.
I haven't.
Never.
And you can ask the homeless community.
Never.
Fort Dodge about me. They all know me.
I've never done it. I
On a
won't.
First name basis.
Okay. Why? Why do I do the right thing? Because it's the right thing to do.
And not to feed your own ego or agenda.
I'm not worried about my ego or
Not
my
to feed
agenda.
your own
I'm worried
agenda
about
or ego.
I'm worried about my fellow man,
Correct.
my fellow American.
Correct.
I don't care if you're, I don't care if you're North Korean, South Korean, Russian. I don't care who you are.
No, you're my brothers. You're my
If you
neighbors.
live on this rock, spinning in the vacuum of outer space, you are my family.
So you would agree that we have enough opposition with our environment to deal with instead of fighting each other?
Absolutely.
I agree
Why,
with
why
that as
fight
well.
each other? Why fight each other when we have the opportunity to share what we have, our knowledge, our resources, our everything?
I agree with that
I
statement.
Yes, ma'am.
I do gotta say, it is wrong for other people to fight and all this other stuff that's happening recently in this world. There's a lot of pollution. There's a lot of different things There's a lot of
of
people.
things.
There's a lot of people not giving enough attention to this world that there should be. There's a lot of
Right.
people polluting, dirtying our waters.
There's a lot of people not taking care of
Not
their
taking
neighbors.
care-
What will your children drink if there is no clean water?
I'd actually
If all the
get
water
my
has been
ass
polluted.
up. I'd get my ass up and I'd do something about it.
But you gotta watch
You
your
would
language.
purify the
because
water.
we're on live on YouTube.
Sorry.
You would get up and you would purify. We know how to boil water.
Exactly.
We know how
I'll
to charcoal
boil it.
filter water.
Yes,
We know how to use
But even better than charcoal filter water, here's a good idea. How about we take an aquaponic farm and we base it at every river basin, every city,
Thank
to
you.
feed that city,
Thank you, Mr.
We
Brian.
gotta,
and we
gotta
clean the
take
water and make sure there's plenty of food for everybody. That way, in the next 20 years, we don't have to worry about where
Okay,
the groceries
when
are
I was a
coming
young
from.
man and I came to Iowa in 1976 from Los Angeles,
In the land of opportunity.
the only river I knew was the LA River.
Correct.
And it was dirty and it was the wash and it came down out of the mountains and it was brown and crazy and don't fall in there or you'll die.
Yeah. Filled
I
with
came
pollutants.
I came to Iowa and there was the Des Moines River, there was Lizard Creek, there was the Mississippi, there was the Missouri. All these and they were so clean, they were so beautiful. And now I look at them and there's garbage floating in them.
Tires,
Yes.
trash cans, cars.
Tires,
Have you
trash cans,
seen-
dead bodies. People throwing things out of their car.
Correct.
Have
Because-
you seen Utah's waters?
I've spent summers cleaning up those rivers and lakes and streams, pulling that.
How many
trash
times
out.
when you were a child, how many times did we go out and bring other people's trash out of the woods, out of the streets,
How
out of the
many
rivers,
times
out of the
did
lakes?
I always
It takes
go
one
with
garbage
my
bag
dad?
and a little bit of extra effort.
How many times has me and my dad gardened it so this world can be a safer place? How many times have we picked up garbage from different places?
Since you were a baby,
Oh, I
Yeah.
not only wanna
Since you were
protect-
18 years
I not
old.
only want to protect as an
you were 18
American.
years old since you were a baby.
I not only want to
We've
protect
done that.
as an
Exactly.
American, our
But they want to
people,
protect the
and I'm
family.
not just talking about the American people. I'm talking
Bring-
about all people.
Introduce your boyfriend. Bring him into the conversation. Can he get in there?
Care to step in on the floor, sir?
You care to step in?
We're on live right now. You're free to join this discussion.
Join the conversation.
What do you
friend.
think about all of it, Andrew?
I believe the tax too high.
The tax is too high, he said.
I believe
Why,
that also.
Andrew? Why is the tax too high?
Why is the tax too high, Andrew?
I think because the war, maybe.
Because of the war?
What?
But why do you think we have war? I feel like it's more politicians trying to drive fear into our hearts, so we give them more money to create a war, because that's what they do. They go out and pick fights.
They wanna
instead of
pick a
trying to
fight
make
with-
friends.
Are you mad at the Iranians?
No, I got no reason to be mad at them. They
Andrew,
come here
quiet,
and go to our
son,
schools.
quiet. Are you mad at the Iranians? Are you mad at the North Koreans? Are you mad at the Russians? But the news tells you,
Is that Korean food?
the major news organizations tell you, these people they're creating problems. What problems do you see?
Oh, see me dead.
What problems that I see?
Yes.
No problems.
There's a lot of problems in the world.
That's
It's bad.
Let Andrew finish. Quiet. Andrew has the floor.
Okay.
trying to think. I know the what's it called, the gas is going too high too. The gas too.
I agree.
That's based on greed.
Do you think if we managed the oil and gas companies
The
and we
real.
managed
Don't call us a dead gauge.
the people who control those resources, that we would have better control over our environment and the people we're trying to help? I mean, if you were president, Andrew, if you were president, what would be your first executive order? You can sign your name on a piece of paper and anything you want happens. What would be your first order of business? Average American, what's your first order of business? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but
By all means, speak your mind, son.
speak your mind, son. You're an articulate, intelligent man.
I would get the citizen the good jobs, but more money.
People doing hard jobs, you give them more money, like
Good
teachers.
job.
We have to
Make
give them
good
those
money.
examples every day. Teachers.
You know, it's teaching by example the same way as leading a restaurant. You have to teach
You're
by
okay, so you're gonna lead by example. You're gonna take poor people and give them better jobs.
or at least give them a useful skill so
At
they
least
can do
get-
the job.
Mhm.
How about teach them? How about teach them to do what they need to do?
Correct.
Would you teach them how to be really good at their job? Would you teach them on how to spend money, collect their money, save their money? Would you teach them all of that? Or would you teach
Good
them how to
idea.
spend the money right?
I would, for a person who's homeless and doesn't have an income, the first thing I would do,
Andrew talking.
go ahead, Andrew.
Andrew has the floor.
I'll go after you're done.
You're the president, Andrew. You have the floor.
Get the
The
floor.
whole country is listening. Don't be shy. You know what you want to do.
How
I do.
would you-
There's a lot of things out there. The problems, like
What's the problem
What's the biggest problem in America today in your mind?
in your mind?
Anyway, I would stop the war in Ukraine. To be honest,
Thank you.
And how would you do that? Would you choose to make peace and try and help our neighbors, or would you try and fight them some more?
Try and fight them or make peace?
make peace.
Ukrainians are not our enemies.
No, they're not.
Exactly.
Ukraine's not the enemy of the Ukrainians. I mean, the Russians are right now.
Russians.
The Russians have invaded the Ukraine. I mean, they're
Yeah, they invaded
It was
Ukraine
Russians.
because that you'd be Russia's land. That's why they invaded.
Ooh.
they're not debating, Andrew. They're shooting missiles at innocent
Yes.
women and children.
Nukes.
Would you put boots on the ground?
Boots on the ground? No.
No. Okay, so you wouldn't have American troops go put boots on the ground in Ukraine to
Yeah.
stop Russia. What
Yeah,
would you
yeah,
do?
I would go up there and talk to Putin.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
The same thing I would do, Andrew.
We're gonna
You
have
would
to
go
have
and
a
sit down with
conversation.
Vladimir Putin and say, hey, enough is
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah, that's
And then you
enough.
just get shot.
No. See, Vladimir Putin, in my mind, is an oligarch. He's old KGB. He's rich money. He thinks he runs the world.
Yeah.
We think differently. We think, and we know we run the world.
That's people in America.
Vladimir Putin is a figurehead.
Just like
The
China.
Ex-KGB, he's a Russian spy.
Just
Cold
like-
War era leftover.
Just like
He's
China.
he's not the new people. You're a young man. How old are you, Andrew?
How am I?
Yep.
24.
Okay. So between now and the time you're my age, I'm 62.
62.
How do you plan between 24 and 62? How do you plan to make the world a better place? Your plan, all you. You have the floor, it's all you. What will you do? See, I'd rather listen to a young guy who's got good ideas than I would listen to some old guard like Vladimir Putin or George Bush or Donald Trump or any. Tell me what you think,
But
son,
what about a young woman?
or a young woman.
Got the head on your shoulders and you're thinking for the people, like you're supposed to. Instead of for yourself.
You don't need a college education. You don't need to be a diplomat. You don't need any of that. You need to be you.
I loved
How would
President
you,
Obama.
Andrew? How would you make it better?
You need to exercise.
You
Make
two
it
don't
better?
have the floor. Andrew speaking. Go ahead, man. think about it. We'll come back and do another live stream later, man.
Yeah, we will.
We
See,
will.
I would see we're having problems. I don't know.
Right now, you don't know. That's okay. See, it's okay that you don't know.
We kind of Johnny
You,
on the spot.
you need to think about it. That's a good thing.
Yep, that's a good thing.
You
Yeah.
need to step back and look at the situation. You think Donald Trump, when he was president, looked at the nuclear football and go, I'm gonna shoot a missile? He didn't.
No,
No.
I just
He
think
didn't.
about it. What happened? What you do?
Thank you. You think about what I ask you. Write your
Yeah.
answers down. Come back and give me the answer. I know you're smart. I see in your face.
We'll do it again.
Yeah.
We'll do this again.
Okay.
All right, y'all. God bless. We wanted to have our little presidential debate. I'm gonna sign off live, and then upload it, and then I post it to Facebook.
Yep.
Y'all vote for Nathaniel Bryant, Mike Bryant, Adriana Temple.
Vote for Mike Bryant. Vote for Andrew.
Yep.
Vote for
Andrew
Andrew.
Gibson.
Yep. We the people for the people.
We the people.
Love.
Peace, love,
We the people are the people.
peace, love.
Not the oligarchs, not the oil company, not Tesla, not what's his name? Oh,
All
Elon
world
Musk.
peace. All
Yeah.
world peace.
Correct.
That's what we have to get through. World peace. Everywhere.
And you know the funniest part of this live stream, guys? Most of my base of audience is from other countries, China,
Good.
Egypt.
Good.
I
They will
want
Let
know.
them come
to
from
see
wherever they
this.
want.
I want them
They
to
will
see
know.
this.
They will
They
know
need to see
finally.
who we are.
God
We
bless
are real
you.
Americans.
We're signing
We're not
off for
making
the
stuff
night.
up.
We're signing off for the night, guys. God
Good
bless.
night,
Bless
Andrew.
ya.
God bless you, man.
Hey.
That's not terrible.
It's not.
That was not terrible.